Have you seen Westworld by chance?
I did, and I have no idea where you're going with this, and now I'm very interested.
It's just they talk a lot about AI and heuristics and what might happen. I mean, it's. I'm curious what you have to say about. I mean, you must get the question a lot of like, are the robots going to take over? You do AI. That's the like a go-to question you hear a lot of people make. And you had this lovely quote in the book, which was something to the effect of, don't be scared of math, basically. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, look, like we just said about like, King Lear versus a comedy, like I do tend to bright side things. So like, but in particular, I feel like, and this comes back to this question of like different kinds of tasks are more or less difficult for different kinds of minds. The fact that a machine can play Go much better than a human, or chess or checkers or something like that, that's a particular kind of task that machines are very well suited to do. I don't think you should look at that and say, well, that just means that computers are smarter than us. That just means that like in 5 years, the computers will be able to do everything we do and much better. I'm not saying that's impossible, by the way, but I'm saying that is not determined by the fact that they're very good at tasks that are exactly suited to their skills, right? I mean, they still have problems driving a car, as you know very well. Although you could argue that in some contexts, they're better at driving a car than a person, and in some contexts, they're worse. That's one where I think that there's sort of different metrics on which you could say one is better than the other. And there are also sort of very basic tasks. Famously, a machine can't fold a shirt. Did you know that? You basically something that is like incredibly easy for like a 15-year-old who works at the mall. Like you cannot, the most expensive robot.
What do you mean it can't fold a shirt? Really? A machine just can't fold? It's just impossible.
That's what I've read. We should look it up, but that's not in the book. I haven't researched it. But I mean, but the point is, it's very plausible that there's things
that are, yeah.
But that said, obviously what I know best is mathematics. And I think the sort of relationship between machines and humans in mathematics is fascinating. And I do think that even just the basics of like calculators and computers have already changed how we do math. We sort of use them as our assistants. And I think maybe what I think is most likely is that they'll be upgraded from assistants to partners, not superseding us. But, one thing I say in the book, just talking about this relationship between trying to train machines to sort of, in some sense, think mathematically, although not in the same way that we do, is that, you might start by saying like, wow, our machine's going to figure out all the answers. And I'm like, no, that's not an ambitious enough goal. The machines should be asking good questions. That's what we really need them for. I mean, that's a much bigger goal than giving all the answers.
I love that. It set me off on just imagining some beautiful future where you just sit there and and go on an app and the AI just asks you these incredibly fascinating questions that no one's ever thought to ask before. That would be
exactly.
That would be incredible. Yeah, it is funny that, to me, it's always seemed a little funny to be scared of AI, at least just yet. But the idea of like you said, getting really good at chess, like, oh, now they're going to take over the world. Well, if I met a human that was really good at Sudoku, I wouldn't be like, I guess you should be king. like it's such a weird, specific thing. or like if someone trained their dog to like walk on two legs, I wouldn't be like, stop training that dog. It's gonna take over. Next, it's gonna be tying a tie, and then what? It just seems like an odd, at least for where we're at right now. I mean, I guess there could be some tipping point where all of a sudden AI is learning to reconstruct itself faster than doing all these things we can conceive. And even at that point, why would it be our enemy?
I would never say it's impossible. I would just say it's not. Like most actual things in the world, it's neither impossible nor inevitable. Most things are like that.